Okay, I'm calling the Thursday, February 19th, 2026 Multimodal Safety Committee meeting to order. First or second item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. Have a motion to
I
approve.
move we approve the minutes of January 2026.
Okay, David has made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
David Dempster. No.
A second.
Okay, Trevor's seconded. Okay, all in favor of approving the minutes as written, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstentions or noes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved. Okay, next is the appearance of interested citizens, persons. This is when people are able to come up and talk about something that is not on the agenda. We have two names on the list. Where did I just put that list? I just have it. I know Jennifer Hewitt, there we go. Will you be coming up to talk? Thank you. And if you could state your name and city of residence.
My name is Jennifer Hewitt, and I live in Keizer.
Okay.
Everything written down.
Okay.
I'm a horrible public speaker, so bear with me. I'm here to talk about Shoreline Drive.
Excuse me,
Oh,
where?
Shoreline Drive.
Okay, sure.
Sorry, is this on? I don't know if you guys can hear me
It
well.
should have a red light if you see the red light.
Okay.
Yeah.
My family and I have lived on Shoreline for 8 years, and I would like to discuss the dangerous and reckless driving that occurs on Shoreline. We have more and more kids in the neighborhood, as well as pets and elderly people who take their morning walks every day. The speeding has gotten extremely bad and dangerous. Yesterday morning at 8:30, we were leaving our house to walk our kids to school. And my friend and neighbor, her cat Ollie, was struck by two separate vehicles. Both vehicles were in a hurry and speeding. The first car, a burgundy Mazda SUV, ran over Ollie, but did not kill him. I ran down my driveway to get to him while yelling at the white Dodge Ram speeding towards him. The man did not pay attention to me. He did not stop and he did not slow down. He ran over Ollie, killing him. I moved his body from the road onto the sidewalk while my husband went to get our neighbor. This is just one example of the reckless driving that occurs on Shoreline. I am here to propose something I know has been denied in the past. I think it would be beneficial to provide more safety if we put speed bumps on Shoreline. We know that there's one on Cummings, and it's been very beneficial. The kids feel more safe. The parents feel a lot better about it being there. I don't know how many could be put in, but near Dearborn and near the crosswalk by Raphael, I think would make a huge difference. People can't ignore speed bumps the way that they ignore the speeding light that flashes at them that they don't care about. It does absolutely nothing at this point. This neighborhood is full of kids and pets that deserve safety. Vehicles fly down Shoreline at dangerous speeds every day, all night long. There's racers who start right after the four-way stop, and we hear them rev up and we hear them take off down Shoreline. Shoreline is one of the main veins through Keizer, and I think it deserves a level of concern that provides change. Next time, instead of a pet, this could be a child chasing a ball into the street. It could be an elderly person trying to cross. We have lots that use canes in our neighborhood. They are slow. People don't pay attention. I just feel that action must happen at this point, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you, and my sympathies. I have pets and I know they're part of the family.
Yes.
So just a couple of detailed questions I'd like to get. What's the nearest intersection that this happened at, off of Shoreline?
We're about 2.5 blocks in from the four-way stop, Chamawa and Shoreline.
And about a block from Dearborn.
Yes.
The four-way stop is the one at Chamawa, and so in terms of the racing, that would be occurring on Windsor Island, because doesn't the road name change right there?
We
To
hear
the-
them by Shoreline Loop. It's right after the four-way stop on Shoreline. We hear them stop there, and then they rev, and then they take off. So, yeah,
It's usually coming from Shamawa
yes,
onto Shoreline.
Yes.
is where
So
we-
they're heading south?
Yes.
Oh,
Another question. I know you said it was in the morning when you were getting ready to take your children to school. Was it, what time of day is that? Because I don't know what school they go to.
they go to Cummings. It's in the neighborhood. And we were leaving at 8:30 a.m.
Okay, so it was light. Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Do you have any other questions? So Officer Powell, I know we've had studies on Shoreline. We have the speed sign on Shoreline. I know we've had people come in saying they noticed a change, at least early on when it was installed. I don't know if it's become now background noise that people just see but don't acknowledge. Do you know the last time we've had a speed reader on that street?
I don't, but I mean, in essence, they're permanently installed by the city. So we wouldn't
You
put
wouldn't
a speed
put it
reader there. It's kind of pointless, right?
Yeah. Well, but they don't, the speed reader actually takes data, right?
No.
Oh, it doesn't?
No, it does the exact same thing that the little signs show. It just shows their speed it doesn't keep going up. It'll cap out because we don't want people to race.
Right, it just flashes
Yeah,
and
we don't
says,
want
"Slow
people to
down,
race
slow down."
against to see how fast they can go.
Right.
So, yeah, and I don't remember the last time, I haven't not received citizens complain about speed since they got the speed reader, so I'm a little bit caught off guard or behind the times. I really have I mean, we haven't been out there as much because we were told that it's resolved. Obviously, we do travel that, we don't just ignore
Right.
a street, but we haven't officially been concentrated. I've been working on Cummings and other streets.
Yes, I believe that when they were first installed, it did get better for a time. It is no longer the case. I think that people see it flashing. I walk my kids, we walk the neighborhood all the time. We walk to and from school, and they fly past us, and it's flashing at them, and they don't slow down. They don't care. It's just so dangerous. We've crossed the street before, my kids and I. There's a little library on the corner of Raphael, and we like to cross there. And people have almost hit us. And so it's just becoming such a problem. And I want everyone to be safe in the neighborhood. And I think Ollie's death was kind of my tipping point, because I feel like that could have been avoidable. If people were going slow and they were paying attention, they would have seen him. I know cats get hit all the time. I'm not saying that, accidents don't happen, but the second truck that hurts, I'm screaming, I'm yelling, please stop, please. Nothing. So it's concerning.
Well, I don't know, go ahead, Dave.
Mike, I know there's a lot of resistance to speed bumps. I'm new to this. What are the problems with speed bumps? Why people don't like to put them in?
Well, we have the neighborhood traffic management plan and go through those steps, and then if they're warranted, that's something a tool that we use to talk about when it gets there to, so it starts with the speed trailer that goes out to catch people's attention, and then it moves from there to a traffic study, and then from there, that study either warrants something further action. And if the study shows the volume or the speeding isn't there, then it stops right there. If not, you go to phase or step 4, I guess, where we talk about what things do we want to see in this neighborhood? What can we do to make it different? I know for the speed displays that were installed, we actually we did a speed study. We did a couple studies on Shoreline, and at that time, and this was just a couple of years ago, it didn't hit the markers. I think this committee voted on it, and then it went to council, and from there we ended up installing them. Aside from the neighborhood traffic management plan, it was kind of, I mean, we like to follow that because we spend a lot of time to put that in place. And then there are times where it goes to council and moves on from there, so.
The speed limit's 25 along there?
Yes.
Yeah.
This committee in the past recommended reducing the speed limits to 20. That has not gotten any traction at the city council. Officer Powell, would it be possible to start ticketing at 30 in a 25-mile-an-hour zone, in a residential zone?
Well, you're kind of getting into a little bit of a gray area. The speedometers are not, on most vehicles, are not necessarily calibrated to be that precise for a couple reasons. There's some error in there, and then I'll use my wife's Subaru. There's a recommended tire size, and then dealerships can change the tire size or whatever slightly to make them more marketable, and that's going to change the speedometer. Typically, when I teach radar and LiDAR, I recommend, we don't want to plug up the courts at 5 miles an hour. Quite frankly, I'd be issuing even a lot of you guys probably speeding tickets at 5 miles an hour over. And I don't think that's the intent. And
My concern is that on a street like Shoreline or Verda, 30 miles an hour is one thing, 35 is something very different.
I
so-
agree. That's 35 is where I stop. I begin my enforcement.
Yeah.
There is the statute that will allow from 1 to 10 over. But we don't, until it reaches awfully close to that 10 or some other extenuating circumstances, like if there were young children I stopped one on Cummings for 33 the other day, which is below typically what I would do, but school was out and there were, this little tyke running down the street with a parent 150 yards behind them because they couldn't keep up. And he went by at 33. So yeah, I stopped that car and deal with it that way. But if there's no extenuating circumstances, it's hard to justify much below 35.
Councilor Stein.
Thank you. Mr. Philbrook, were you done? Okay, great. Thank you, Chair de Blasi. Mr. Griffin, can you go back over, I think I heard everything that you said in that when you were kind of recounting the process that went through to put the speed table or speed thing on, what were you just talking? I've got Cummings and Dearborn and all the streets in my head.
So Shoreline has 4x4 posts a distance apart, and on that there is basically a display that
Right,
when you go
okay.
by, and it's housed inside a
So
speed
did
sign.
can you repeat the process that went through to get there? Because I thought I heard you say that council did something anyway. So can you go back over that for me, please?
So we started by Officer Powell and his team put out a speed trailer to see if that helped, change the situation. And I think it did for a little bit, and then it came back. No, there's still an issue here. So at that point, I think we did two separate traffic studies, volume and speed, and both of those came back to not hit the markers that we have in the neighborhood traffic management plan, which then tells us we don't move forward. There's still enforcement. The enforcement part doesn't stop, but it doesn't move forward on that. With that information, this committee made a motion to have these installed, which then, if I recollect right, it went to council, and then council directed city staff to install.
So just to make sure anybody watching is clear, we went through the speed trailer, the volume traffic study, the speed traffic study, and because those didn't meet the thresholds, per the neighborhood traffic management plan, the process would have stopped, but this committee chose to make a recommendation and send it to council to take up the issue.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Well, two things. David, your original question is the reluctance to put in speed humps or other things like that. The reason I always hear is emergency vehicles. Now, that doesn't mean that's a non-starter then, because they can make them where emergency vehicles have the tire gaps through them, whereas cars aren't sized right, so they still have to stop. Yes, ma'am?
I had heard the same thing. The fire department didn't want them on shoreline because of that reason. So I didn't know really what me proposing would do, but I figured I'd try.
No, I'm not opposed to speed humps. Bumps tend to be different because tables slope cars down without being discomforting to the driver.
Yes.
You still get the effect of it, and you
Yes.
can put the gap in there. Were you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, the downside of the speed bumps are cars, when they're braking, coming up to it, and then slowly going over it, and then speeding up to, say, the next one, and then that causes a lot more noise in the neighborhood, and stop signs aren't effective either, because cars race through those. They either run through them, or they're speeding up to them, they're stopping, and then racing off again. So it's, both situations aren't the best situation. I know Keizer Road has some, they're speed humps, they're kind of just gradual, and those do slow cars down because people that live there know about it. I don't know if there's racing up and going over and speeding from there. They're pretty gradual, but construction speed bumps now are just designed a little bit different. So, you know, if it hits that marker, we look at that. The other areas for safety, as far as like bump outs and things like that, we don't have a lot of room in taking away from a neighbor's, you know, parking spot in front of their house. There aren't just areas where we can just add on, where you see like Salem has added something where you would neck a road down and whatnot. Those are great in the new construction, say, but to adapt that to a neighborhood is somewhat difficult. So.
Well, I know Shoreline is a pretty wide street. I think at some of the main intersections, not roundabouts, but those circles, there are some in Salem that I've seen, in Portland and some other cities, where they're smaller, but they require someone to slow down a little bit and go around them. Other than cost, because I know that's always a factor, could we have a policy where if a residential street, maybe even a collector, is of a certain length, because Shoreline's a very long street, Verda's long, especially, you know, where it's 25, some other streets like that, where the city just automatically has a policy of putting in those signs like we did already on Shoreline. And I know we're hearing that there's kind of a return on that, but at least it puts it to people on all these streets that, hey, you're going too fast. And that would obviously be a budget thing, but, David?
Yeah, I think the problem you, not just you, but everybody who comes in here with speeding issues, the problem you're having is that the neighborhood traffic, what's it called?
Management plan.
Neighborhood traffic
Management
management plan
program.
has some statistics that you probably don't like in terms of how many cars are going by, and you're concerned, like, but you're going to school with your kids. You're probably between 7 and 9. You're really worried about that, and maybe whatever they get out, 2:30 to 5. The program doesn't speak to that. And it doesn't speak to the fact, that would be volume of traffic during those periods, or maybe the whole day. So you need to adjust, maybe you would be happier if that was adjusted, which would force the Public Works and City Council to take an act. The other is the speed study. You probably aren't gonna like that either, that says, yeah, we're gonna allow, yeah, it's 25, but we're gonna allow 35. Or whatever, and so and you're saying, well, if there's, whatever, pick a number. If there's more than 10 people break the speed limit, I want a traffic calming device. Or if there's more than 500 people break the speed limit, we want a device. To change that, Counselor, to change that policy, we would go to the City Council, Public Works and the City Council, correct?
Yes.
Or you could come here and then we could go to the Public Works and City Council.
I think this committee would still need to do the work and make the recommendation of what changes to send to city council
Right.
for them to take up. So I would have the conversation here and come up with their recommendations of changes.
We would make a recommended change to that policy.
Correct, and then it would go to council.
However, Dave, we just spent 2 years putting this together from
I
an
know.
outdated one from 1999. I'll just add that piece.
Well, I still think should be a living
Well,
document.
the other part of this
Yeah.
is that, and I don't like it, but necessarily personally, but it's a political decision. There are people, truck drivers, companies, people who live on your street don't want it changed. And there are people who do now. So
That makes sense.
I don't know what to do about that. I mean, but that's,
I don't either.
okay, so one issue would be to, I hate to tell you this, but to come again and complain about it again, and this time come and ask us to explain to you why the program is as it is today, and you could say, well, I want them lowered. I'm not telling you what to say, it's an
Yeah.
idea.
Okay, I appreciate
And
that.
the more people that come and do that,
Yes,
not just you or not just the people in Shoreline, the more apt it is to be changed.
okay. Thank you.
What neighborhood association are you in?
West Keizer.
Yeah, we
West
don't-
Keizer?
It's just West Keizer.
Get the West Keizer group in here.
Okay,
Yeah.
That would
Okay.
be very, very helpful.
Okay.
And then, two things for Mr. Griffin. Is there a density on spacing that we can have? How many speed humps, if they were to get put in, would we have between that?
No.
Can I put an question?
Yeah.
It should be in our minutes somewhere, is that speed humps are one, and I wrote out a list once and presented it here, one of 22 different things you could do to slow traffic down in front of your house. And so, speed humps are one. And we probably need, I would ever recommend that, if we decided to do something at all,
Okay.
would be to look at all of those. And then you're talking about cost, time, how inconvenient is it to the rest of the people?
okay.
So, anyway,
Yeah,
if you
my-
could look that up in the minutes, you might.
I'll dig back through that. My second question was along that same lines, rumble strips. Have we looked at speed rumble strips to deter those? I know I've seen those at different places, especially like off ramps coming off the highway and things, to get folks to slow down.
No, I mean, because we put that plan together, and that plan, the parameters aren't that astronomical, I mean, as far as the speeding 5 miles and over. So that's showing that if that's speeding is not there, if it's not more than 5 miles over, that's the average car going 28, 29 miles an hour. And if that study shows that, that's not warranted for that area. So, that's why I mean, you talk about lowering that and whatnot, but you're not lowering it by much. If the speed's 25 and our parameter's only 5 over, I mean, that's not a lot. And Officer Powell and his team is catching most of the other speeders out there doing enforcement and whatnot. So, as far as rumble strips, it might be in that thing Dave was just mentioning with the toolbox, but, we haven't done that before.
And then follow-up question there, if a resident were to want to review the neighborhood traffic plan, would they find that on the city website so that way they could get some information?
Yep.
I'm gonna do that. I have, oh, sorry.
Mr. Griffin, I know you said that we spent 2 years looking at that neighborhood traffic management, and it was an update after, I think, 1999, so a bazillion years, right, almost. How long has that plan been in effect? Because in my head, I think that when you update a document that has been in existence for so many years, and then we update it, I think it's only natural that we've had some time, a little bit of time go by where we identify maybe some things that aren't quite working right, or maybe, oops, wish we would have caught that. So I'm curious, how long has that been finalized and in practice? And so that's my first question, and then I have based on that answer.
So I might be a little confused, because when it was updated and this committee went through it and Tammy spent a lot of time,
Yep.
a lot of work was done to make it clearer and easier to go through those
Sure.
steps. So are we,
was-
procedure-wise, things were added and things were taken out and things were lowered. The percentile went from 85% to 50%. So things were done and looked at to lower the parameters, if we're still just talking the basic 5 miles and over.
I'm just asking for the base, like, when was the plan adopted and final, the updated or the revised neighborhood traffic management plan? What date was that?
February 24, maybe.
So we are literally 2 years after the finalization. That's a fair amount of time to identify maybe, just putting it for a little tune-up, if you will, back on the agenda, because we have 2 years of that being active and current, correct?
Yeah, I'm just curious, yeah.
Thank you.
You had something else to say?
You were talking about a speed, where you go through the process of researching again and doing the tests and all of that. Could that be put into like a process again, or could we do some more of that, or?
Well, I think there's two ways, I think, where the city itself could choose to do it,
Okay,
or in response to an application through the neighborhood traffic management plan.
okay,
Now, the thing about the plan is, this might not be hard, but it's supposed to be 75% of the people living on the street. And I don't remember if we made a determination, because Shoreline's a long street, so are we
Yes.
saying 75% of people from that long would be a lot of homes, or can we have it broken into a reach?
Add it to the list of tune-up items.
Stop sign, stop-
Yeah.
It's also a different
Stop sign,
era.
stop sign.
Being probably by far the oldest person in the room. I lived in Portland, a neighborhood similar to your neighborhood, except up in Portland. And I'm trying to remember offhand, my mom and dad, when I was a teenager, knew the names of 90% of the people within 2 blocks, which would be over a quarter mile where we live, in both directions. And today, I think you'd be hard, not necessarily you, but a lot of the people would be hard put to name 4 people within a mile of their house. So talking about going out and would you sign this petition,
right.
is very, very different than it used to be.
I'd be willing to do it though.
I know, I'm just saying,
Yes,
that needs to be taken into account.
I can be pretty convincing, so.
It's
Yeah.
hard.
Well, and the neighborhood association, I think, has resources, or at
Yes.
least people that can help you get in touch with other people.
Yes.
That would be,
Okay,
that would be your best.
Yeah.
okay.
Plus,
So-
they're very aggressive.
So what I would
Thank you.
recommend that at the next, we put on the agenda for the next meeting, a discussion of making a list of recommendations that we'd send to council of tweaks to the plan that we have, that was adopted in February of '24. So the homework then for the next month would be to come up with ideas. And that way, that night, we could discuss the ideas, and we public can come and offer suggestions too.
Okay.
So, you know, you can tear apart the document and
Okay,
get the red pen out.
perfect.
Thank you, Chair DeBlasi. Ms. Wilson, because one thought I have to have information for this committee's conversation is asking the neighborhood associations for feedback on their use of the neighborhood traffic management plan, because I think there's been some attempts over the last couple years. What's the best way for this committee to ask the neighborhood associations to review that and let us know their thoughts?
I could just send them an email and then bring back the information.
Is that something, Chair DeBlasi, that this committee might be interested in?
I would always be interested in getting any feedback on people who've attempted to use it, yeah.
Great.
And if they have looked at it and decided not to, why?
Do we currently have anybody on this committee from the West Keizer Neighborhood Association?
So I'm the liaison to that.
Okay.
Or I'm one of the liaisons. And so the structure is that there is there's a city council liaison for each neighborhood association. So, but I didn't want to wait till the next city council meeting to bring that up because I think we might have some between now and then. So, yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Yeah,
not
David?
sure what the boundaries are, but both neighborhood associations over there are very active, and Hirsch is certainly a member of one of them.
Of Northwest Keizer. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be the other side of Chemawa?
Well, he's, at least where he lives is just north of Chemawa,
Yep.
yes.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you, and again.
Thank you for your time.
I'm sorry to hear the reason why you had to come here.
Would it be reasonable to request next time you get a lot of speeding in front of your house, you call the police department? Non-emergency line, but,
Yeah,
and tell them
What happened?
what happened.
Okay, yes.
And then they'll say, oh, yeah, now I remember her.
then maybe I just call again.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh-huh.
something about the squeaky wheel.
That's right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the other name we have is Carolyn Homan.
Carolyn Homan, Keizer. I'm here just in support of the neighbor who just testified. West Keizer Neighborhood Association certainly has attempted to use the neighborhood traffic management program before, and happy to put that in process again for anything that might be suggested. As a cat lover, I'm horrified, I'm sorry to say, at what happened. But I really, Chief Copeland came to our neighborhood meeting last week or the week before, whenever it was. I've lost track of where we are in February already. But at the end, I did ask him again about speeding, and I know there are now 2 traffic cops, which is great. We only had 1 for a while, which for a city of 4,000 is not really enough. So 2 is great. He said ticketing revenue is up. That's also great. I'm glad to hear that, because I think people need to be reminded in a way that there is speeding in this town, and anybody that drives here knows there is speeding, whether you're on River Road, you're on Shoreline, you're on Sunset, you're on Cummings, any residential street, you will hear squealing tires and roaring engines down the streets. So it's a problem that can affect any one of us any day of the week, and it only takes a second. So I hope that we can come to some agreement about finding a way to calm things down, whether it's on River Road or, honest to God, Safeway parking lot. It's crazy. So I appreciate your time, and we will be working through the neighborhood association to try to address this. And it really is a number one And I told this to Chief Copeland, it's probably the number one thing that we hear of from our neighbors just throughout the years. So, thank you.
Carolyn, have you heard anecdotally people saying that that sign is not working as well as?
I hadn't, we did check after they were put in, and as I think she said, people did feel when they were first put in that it did help, but we haven't rechecked, and we haven't had anybody say anything about that,
Okay,
so.
thank you.
I have a question. We're talking about shoreline, not just supposed to be concentrated on that. That's not a very long road. How many, what is it, half mile? It's not a half mile, is it? It seems rather, when I drive
Pretty
it,
close.
shoreline itself seems rather short.
Well, it's not that
And
short.
it would seem to me, maybe I'm more aggressive than some of you, because if you speed, I'm gonna call him to talk to you, because I don't wanna, I'm afraid to go to your house. So, I'm wondering is that if the people along shoreline, are they the people that are speeding? And if so, you or your neighbors know who they are, and something could maybe be done that way. But I have a problem when you
No.
need a third person to come in and observe what you and your neighbors are looking at. Now, maybe the people are all coming from somewhere else and they're using shoreline as a shortcut. But I mean, if we were gonna research it, I'd wanna know that.
Shoreline extends all the way from Larry to Shamawa. It's quite a ways.
Yeah,
And I wouldn't have any idea if it's just neighbors.
well,
But
and I think too, with,
it's a through street.
with the park now, with the fields,
Yeah.
people use them a lot more, and so people are coming in to
Exactly.
use them, or exiting. Yeah.
So,
Okay, so maybe if it's a through street and everybody else is using it, then it's other people who are speeding.
I would just like to make the one comment that I think there often can be, in a neighborhood, be a disconnect too, between what the police and the city consider a speeding issue and what the neighborhood considers a speeding issue. And we tried to address that a bit by lowering the speed limit.
Or
Trying to lower the speed limit, which has not been received very receptively. But we can go through all these different studies and different things, and we can still end up in the same place because there is a disconnect between the perception of safety on the part of the residences on the street and the pedestrians and the kids and things, and what the city currently has listed as the speed limit and how that is interpreted in terms of enforcement. So anyway, I'm not offering any solution. I'm just making an observation, which is this kind of complaint has come up a lot on different streets, and we tend to end up in the same place, which is just this disconnect between the posted speed limit and what the perception of speeding is on the street. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other questions, comments?
thank you.
Thank you. Should we have it where everyone sends their ideas to Dawn, or just do you want to have them, just bring them for the updates to the traffic management plan to the next meeting, or just bring them? I don't know, is there a requirement of how we do that?
I think given that we're soliciting input from like the neighborhood associations and different things, it would be nice to, I think, bring our comments to the next one or thoughts and kind of collect everything all at once.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. All right. All right, moving on. That was it for our, anyone who had something off the topic, although technically not really off topic. The next thing is the project spreadsheet review. We'll do this quickly. Hirsch isn't here, so he won't be able to speak much about the thing, he was working with Officer Powell, I think he even suggested that we wouldn't even
Put it on
discuss it
next week.
tonight, yeah, because he's not here. Green paint is still one of those things that, without a study, I don't think it's gonna happen, and then, of course, we'd have to make the budget request. Pedestrian flag pilot program, do we have anyone here that can speak to it? Mike, do you have anything to say about that? Brenda, do you have anything you wanna share with that?
Just like to keep it on there. huh?
It's Brenda Lamb, West Keizer Association, fan of pedestrian flags. It's going to city council to be discussed. Adam Brown believes it's going to be the first or second week in March, but that has not been finalized that I'm aware of as to when it will be discussed at city council.
And is that at the next city council meeting?
I don't
think so.
know. I think it was directed to staff to come back with a recommendation.
Okay.
So it's kind of, we're waiting for staff to come back for it. I don't know what their timeline is.
Okay,
I know we're getting into budget season, so.
right. Okay, thank you for that update.
And we just, and in full disclosure, we just put staff through the ringer on the police fee task force, so
Yeah.
they were working very long hours.
Let's see, so speeding in residential areas, we just had a quite good discussion about that. Sounds like, as David was saying, that the ability to drop it to 20 is not something that the city is looking to do right now,
And I-
partly because of cost, right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna risk getting this wrong, but I will hope I'm corrected if I'm wrong. There are requirements of, you can't just change it, you change the speed limit, because then you have to change all of the other signs that are, I see Officer Powell starting to nod, I hope I'm getting. Okay, yeah, so there's requirements when you change, that you have to change other, the speeds if it's within a certain area. This conversation was a while ago, that I remember hearing the reasons why there were issues, and concerns, and it was from Mr. Lawyer explaining that, there's a certain spacing that you have to change other speed limit signs. I'm hoping somebody save me.
If I'm gathering where you're, like, if you were to just change the speed limit on Shoreline, every street that ever connects into Shoreline.
That's it,
would
yes.
have to have a sign. Where right now, everything over there is 25, you need one sign when you leave River Road, because everything beyond it is 25.
Right.
Yep,
So that would,
that is what, yes, thank you.
My understanding is we asked for all residential speed limits be reduced from 25 to 20.
That is correct.
Which should have eliminated that problem.
Then we get into cost.
I have a comment about this, and I don't really know where it goes, but if we're not gonna ever do this, but suppose you put on the ballot, let's reduce all the neighborhoods to 15 miles an hour. And it passed overwhelmingly, which just from hearing people come in here, it probably would pass, that all the neighborhoods are gonna go to 15. Where would the objection to that come from? I mean, I can see the state ODOT, that they always have objections to things, but they might come in and say, well, you can't lower River Road because it's a state highway or something. But the neighborhoods, the city has control over, and they could do that. And I don't know what the objection is. I mean, I know the police department gives them a headache, but for everybody else, I mean, it'd be harder to enforce, I think, 15 than 30. But anyway, I don't know where the objections are coming from. When city council says, well, we need to think about this more, I'm not sure why. Because is it the will of the majority of the people? We haven't gone out and checked that very thoroughly, but the representatives were all, you know, we could bring that up again, you could, or the re-elections or something, but I'm not sure you got all the people in behind this, lowering the speed limit. In fact, from driving on River Road this morning, I would say majority of people would be against slowing anything down.
So you confused me there, because the 1 minute I thought you were saying the people would all be in favor of.
Well, they
lowering.
might vote on it unless they're but there's a lot of people driving in Keizer who don't live in Keizer.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Counselor, you had something?
Thank you, Chair de Blasi. I would encourage, and I think I've mentioned this before, but I would encourage this committee to request a work session with the city council so that we can have these conversations to the two bodies together and not, you know, this waiting a month for something to get on an agenda and then it turn around and having to wait a month to come back to the traffic or to the multimodal safety committee. I would ask for a work session and I would put forward a list of the topics that you want covered in the work session in order of priority, because that might be a long list or could take a while. But that would, as your liaison, I'm strongly encouraging this committee to ask for a work session with the city council.
Would that have to be after budget season?
How far, do you know how far out we're scheduled? We just scheduled a work session for an all-day Saturday. So, because it was something that we needed to get done before budget. So, which is not a normal thing for us to do. They're typically on, the second, Mondays of the month, but we also scheduled the town hall for the fourth Monday of a month. So if there's something that is, this committee is feeling very strongly about, that is, has a sense of urgency behind it, I would make that request of council.
Any comments on that?
Do we do that just by making a motion in this committee to go to council? Okay.
And request a work session. For example, Community Diversity Engagement Committee has I think they do 2 work sessions every 6 months, right? Or something like that. And maybe it's only, Dawn, save me again, is it every 6 months?
About that, yeah, a couple times.
Okay, good, I wasn't imagining it. So, that's been a while, I would think I was there when we did that recommendation, but, I would make that kind of a recommendation to council and then it can be calendared on a regular basis. Just my.
Okay. Yes, David?
Oh, I just wanted to say, I really like that suggestion. I think it's very good. To me, we should give some thought as to what the issues are that we would like to put on something like that, such that I would not be prepared tonight to say make a motion for something like that, but I would see giving some thought to it and coming back with something where we tried to work as a committee to put together the idea of prioritized issues as
So
being.
can we put that on the agenda for next month, that we, one, discuss whether or not we need a work session with the city council. Part of that is whether you're willing, now, Councilor, I'm not sure, do you guys do Saturdays, Monday nights, Wednesday, what, is there a? You figured out.
We schedule them. We set
Okay.
our schedule. Our typical work session is the second Monday of every month. We scheduled one for a longer version of a work session on a Saturday because it was very budget committee
Yeah.
and budget season sensitive. But I would encourage you to put that request forward now so that it can get scheduled and then work with your committee, because I just want to play this out for you. If you wait to make the recommendation until next month to ask for a work session, you're now into the middle to end
Yeah.
of March for this committee, right?
Right.
And then you're going to put it forward and make that request at the next city council meeting. You're now probably in the first city council meeting of April that will come forward on the agenda.
And
So,
we could make the request and then cancel it if we all decided not to do it.
Probably wouldn't cancel it once you get a work session
No.
scheduled with the city council, but I would then put it on your agenda. You know pretty much already what your issues are that you want to talk about in the work session, because you've been talking about them the last couple, many meetings.
Yeah.
So I just think sometimes when we start postponing things until next meeting and next meeting and next meeting, you may be looking at June, to be quite honest, until you get a work session, if you keep waiting.
Yeah, Trevor, yeah.
I was gonna say, do we just?
I
just
think,
Do a motion?
yeah,
right now?
Why don't you make the motion?
Yeah,
So I make a motion that the multi-module safety committee does a work session with the city council.
Second it.
all right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor of multimodal, committee having a joint work session with city council, say aye. Aye. Any opposed or abstain? Seeing none, that passes.
And certainly
Okay,
one of the
we're at-
issues is to discuss speeding in neighborhoods.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay, so next meeting, we're going to come up with a list of what,
Right.
and then we can send that to them, give them a head start.
Well, I think they would have to know.
I would say we would put what we've been talking about right now. I mean, not tonight, but between now and, let's say, 2 weeks from now.
Well,
Because there works we could possibly have a work.
Do you think it's possible that we would have a work session within the next 30 to 45 days?
Never know. I mean, I would never say never, but
well, why don't we just,
I would.
can we schedule, amend the work session after,
Can I, when I do my council report, I'm happy to take a list of 3 items
Okay.
that this committee would like to discuss with the council in a work session. And so far I have speeding issues.
Correct.
Just going out on a limb on that one. I don't know if crosswalks are another one.
Crosswalks, yeah.
And then I know you're gonna do work on the neighborhood traffic management plan, so.
Some
Yes,
amendments to
Yep.
that, so yes.
Sounds like we have actions.
I think so, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Great.
All right, thank you. All right, so the next thing was the thing that Hirsch was working with Officer Powell. And so that gets me to the end of the list. All right, now back to the agenda. I had sent out a pedestrian road crossing survey and asked you all to prioritize. I want to just say at the get-go that I couldn't find the same survey type that I found the first time. And so this thing ended up what I thought it wasn't. It's called ranked choice voting, which seemed like we could rank the top whatever we prefer. But what it does is it literally takes your first and seconds and then ultimately decides who number 1 is. But it still has the raw data, and so if you look at the raw data, and that's just the first, second, third, fourth, the column that's got those, you can look at the ones that got the most votes just looking at the first column. And so that shows Lock Haven at Windsor Island, followed by Lock Haven at Verda, and then Lock Haven at Trail, which I'm surprised.
If we have it at Verda, do we need a trail? Is that too close?
remember we had a bunch of people?
Yeah.
So it could have been split vote or something.
Yeah. Yes, David.
I have real problems with this process in terms of coming up with the priority. An example, I personally think this is somewhat influenced by people trying to be winners in their local neighborhood. If you try to cross River Road at a place that doesn't have a signal, you can't do it safely.
Right.
It's a 5-lane road, heavy traffic. When I responded to this too, I put in, it wasn't my highest priority, but after thinking about it, the places that really need pedestrians' safety and things are influenced by the volume of traffic, how many, the speeds, how many pedestrians potentially in the area there. And I was trying on River, I didn't get the right street, but I was trying to visualize where the wreck was and just visualizing kids wanting to get from the west side of River over to the rec center, and whether there was, whether they had to go a significant distance north or south before they got a signalized crossing. And I don't know the answer to that, but it just struck me that the process of this was faulty. I have real troubles with the T at Lock Haven and Windsor Island. Not that it doesn't need a signalized crossing there or something for a safe crossing. It's just that it's not the most important place, given the traffic volumes and my perception of the number of pedestrians there.
Yeah.
Compare that to, and I'm, just because I'm familiar with it, the traffic volumes on Lock Haven and trying to get across at Verda to the bus stop on the north side, and how frequently it is that cars will stop for somebody there. And I happen to live on Lock Haven, and we had a new neighbor move in across the street for two reasons. One was the traffic on the street, and the other was that the people don't spend a lot of time outdoors. It took me 2 years to be able to go across and meet my neighbors across the street. Both of those reasons, I'm not attributing it just to traffic on Lock Haven. Part of it is that they're not outside very often, but when they are outside, I couldn't get across the street. Right. So and there is no provisions for crossing Lock Haven between 14th and River Road. Right.
Well,
anyway, I didn't mean to lobby for the thing in my backyard. The thing, my sense was that the very first first of all, the very first priorities are probably along the 5-lane section of River, if there are places there that need help. And then we can go out from there. Mm-hmm. But it was, this process just troubled me because I don't think we came up with a very good list in terms of, Keizer has not been receptive to pedestrian crosswalks in general in the past. And you look around the community and if all we're looking for is paint on the street, we have very little in the way of pedestrian crosswalks. We have a long way to go. Anyway, I totally applaud both the generation of this list and trying to come up with priorities, but I don't think we're there yet.
Well, again, I was surprised at the result that Windsor Island got the most votes. I know I voted for Lock Haven and Verda as my number one, because I felt like, as you were saying, it's a high traffic area. There's no protected crossings, and there's a bus stop right there. So it just seemed like that was an important place to have it. River Road too, and I swear I voted for something on River Road. And again, maybe there's a glitch in the system in the voting on this thing, but the results were surprising. I feel like the input we got from the neighborhood associations is probably more useful. We can take what we've put in on our survey as just part of the big, throw it all in a pot. Yes.
And I don't know if it's my place, but I mean, I'm just a liaison and can provide input, and I don't have a dog in the fight like you said. But and I don't live in Keizer, so I'll throw that out there, but I work in here. I've worked here for 13 years in traffic. I would agree, Mr. Philbrick, that this result would surprise me, and I'm wondering if there were some ulterior things going on. River Road, yes, has more of the pedestrian crashes, Most of them are, we'll talk about that next month. Most of them are actually driveway accesses on sidewalks, that kind of stuff. The serious ones are when they're crossing, but the problem is with the 5-lane road, most of them, they won't use a crosswalk because it's 30 feet that way. They'll use the center island turn lane. So it's kind of your own worst enemy in the center turn lane. They'll cross 2 lanes and then wait, and then they'll cross 2 more. So that has another issue. As far as within what you see here, my input, if you were to take that, is, and where I see most pedestrians, would be Lock Haven and Trail. And the reason I say that is you have an apartment on both sides. You have the post office, you have the Safeway, you have the 7-Eleven, and we have more kids going both ways crossing there than anywhere else that I see in Keizer. Granted, now I'm gonna also throw this in there. Lock Haven Trail is also a really poor spot for a crosswalk because of the hill in the corner.
Yeah.
So,
And is there a sidewalk on Trail that would connect to a crosswalk?
Yes.
Or is it a bike path?
Bike path.
There's no sidewalk on.
Yeah.
Oh, on Trail, no, not on Trail, but on
Right,
Lock Haven.
I purposely will not walk on, I used to try to walk on trail, and I don't do it anymore, because, well,
Safety concerns.
But we also had a
Yes.
fatality on Trail, and I think that the Lock Haven Trail, that is not only the hill, but the way it angles and different things, it's a complex
yeah.
for safety, and I'm a cyclist, and I also agree with Officer Powell that people going to the Gubser neighborhood, I mean, if you're walking or biking, that would be probably a prime turn. That
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, oh, yes. So I guess. Yes, please.
Officer Powell, and I don't know, Chair de Blasio, I'm not trying to hijack this process, but is there any wisdom in having our traffic unit look at these and make comments on these options and then have
Some of
it,
that we did, well,
sorry,
Hirsch and
Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
last week, and we were going to present it this week. Hirsch isn't here, and he has some specific things to say, so we'll do that next week, which will bring a lot of that up, I hope.
yeah,
Next
and
week
we
or
can
next
bring
month?
that up and talk about where the, kind of the locations, but, and even the severities or the minor. Yes, they hit our stats, but they're very minor, you'll have a vehicle versus ped title, and literally a car bumped their leg in a, because they stopped past the white line, but it comes in as that title. So I did do a little bit of research there, and unfortunately, I would have to say that the fatality on Harmony, that's possible anywhere. That's really has nothing to do with the safety of the road. The pedestrian was totally in the right and totally safe, and it was I can't prove it, I don't know exactly, but in some way, some fashion, you have a distracted driver. They just weren't paying attention to where they were going.
It was dark too, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yes,
And I'm not familiar with, what's the countywide SCATS, is that it? Who does major road planning for the county?
Salem Keizer area.
Salem
transit.
Keizer regional area. Now, I know they have specific plans for Verda, and they have specific plans for Wheatland. And I've read them, but now I don't want to go read them again. I'm not sure if it includes anything else. In fact, for all I know, they've said, at one point in time, somebody had brought up, and it's not in the plan, that we're going to put a traffic circle in at Wheatland River, whatever, well, the whole area, that signal. We're gonna make that one great big traffic circle. Now, that didn't fly. But something like that could go through, and somebody in the group, probably Public Works, would know about it. But I don't think they'd contact the police department necessarily and tell them 5 years from now, here's what we're gonna have. And I wonder if anybody else pay attention to what SCATS is doing?
Well, I mean, Kathy's.
It's actually, Counselor Duran is the representative on SCATS. And And those projects are years out,
The
so
Verda one's not way out.
Well, now, but it.
no, but it got put into the plant like years ago and they finally, and I have a little bit of an update on that one later. But that's been in the works for many, many years, so
And I've been on this committee.
that's a great work session topic.
And with ODOT, but the other one is, I don't know, for example, live on Wheatland, I don't know how I ever got on the list. Because I live out there and going, we have some serious problems in Keizer, and that is not one of them. And so, but that's just my opinion, because I live out there and I walk on Wheatland Road. But all of a sudden, that became, that's way up there, and it's a multi-million-dollar project, taking all this time to come to fruition. And I'm just wondering if something else is in the plans. Where do they come from? I don't know.
David?
I had one question on this, Mike. It was just one idea. And that is, where I'm going is whether or not in the Public Works budget, and I'm suggesting this in total ignorance, so what I'm looking for is information, actually, that we could budget one improved pedestrian crossing a year. So instead of just road maintenance, we basically, and in asking this, I don't know what the Keizer budget is for road maintenance, and and I'm assuming that there's a generic crossing that Public Works would consider safe. So like, I'm envisioning the blinking yellow lights and the painted crosswalk, to be able to essentially each year kind of tick off and try to improve one pedestrian crossing that Public Works and police and everybody considers to be the one that's the highest priority. What am I asking in terms of the cost of such a crossing? I'm assuming it's something like 60,000 or something, but, and I have no idea what we would be taking that out of in terms of, what the street maintenance budget is.
So it's something that can be discussed. I think the approach here as far as finding a spot and using Officer Powell's recommendation and as Michael's doing the studies and whatnot and putting out what areas does our community feel are the most unsafe is the best way to get that. If you're, as far as the cost, the one we just did on Lock Haven near McNary was about 100,000. And Shamawa's, right here was 80,000. So they're.
And just as a ballpark, what is our budget in terms of that we're spending annually on like road maintenance?
So there's different parts of the budget. Street maintenance and repair pays for a lot of different things. Patching areas around town, it pays for tree service, it pays for, there's a whole list of items underneath that line item. If you go down to capital improvements, capital outlay, we have a street resurfacing fund, and if it works out and the money's there, we try to put there's about $1 million there for resurfacing streets, and then that pays for the sidewalk ADA ramp upgrades. Those are hand in hand, so each year those go up, and then we end up, paving less streets. So, but the maintenance of our streets is important to keep that up. Keizer's, getting older, and that maintenance is needed. So having a separate line item for those projects, I'm not quite sure how that would work. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
So what I'm thinking is having the feedback from Hirsch and Officer Powell next month, adding that to all the feedback we've gotten from the neighborhood associations, as well as our voting, and then I guess I have to aggregate that basically put all those other votes into a big vote spreadsheet, and then that would give us a list of hopefully top 5, clear top 5. And then the rest of the list will still be on, populated, but it's one of those things that we just keep eating away at it as projects funding comes along. So I'm assuming that by the April meeting, I'd be able to have a final spreadsheet that shows the votes. And at that point, we could vote to approve that as our top 5. Is that okay with everyone? Okay. All right, so we'll move on to, Dawn, was the thing I had asked, was that gonna be in committee member input?
It's gonna be under the, staff liaison. He's just gonna bring it up and talk about it.
Oh, okay. All right, so committee member input, we'll start with Lazo. Do you have anything to input for anything interesting that we should know about?
Not really. I mean, it's been pretty safe in Keizer for me, well, with my daily driving.
Okay. Anything going on at McNary that we should know about?
No, but I mean, there is kind of one spot. It's like driving, it's beside the church, the one beside McNary.
Mm-hmm.
It's that small, I want to say, like, it's a small intersection between church's exit and the school's back entrance.
Mm-hmm.
It's sometimes really hard to see, like, students, because students after school, they walk through there.
Yeah.
It's really hard to see them because the other day I almost saw a guy hit one of the students because he when he was turning left, he couldn't see them. So I was wondering maybe we could put like stop signs there, but I know that's kind of a budgeting issue, maybe.
Well, I mean, I think the stop sign would have to be at the parking lot exit, not the street itself,
Oh.
because it's not an intersection and we don't put stop signs.
Just like coming in from Chimawa to the church, like not in Chimawa. I mean
River
River
Road.
Road.
Claggett.
The church.
Claggett, down Claggett Street into St. Edward's Church. And then that small, what's it called?
It's almost at the end where it's kind of a circle where you meet the assisted
Right.
facility place, the
The
church,
arbor.
and the entryway.
Arbor.
Right here.
Yeah.
It's really hard to see with the tree.
Oh, it's off of Sandy Drive and,
Yeah. Then we go by the church,
yeah.
Oh, that little cut. Right here.
Yeah. Do you want me to bring it over?
They're right in there.
You got it? Okay.
Right there. Yeah,
There's
that's the
a
only
little-
spot I've seen
there's-
recently.
yeah.
That's
Okay,
kind
so
of dangerous.
that's the little, it's almost like an alleyway between Sandy and.
Is,
Yeah, it's pretty dangerous.
is that the spot where we just,
This corner here.
is,
The barrier?
yeah,
And so what happened there?
where we removed the barrier?
No.
That's not it?
No.
Okay, good. Phew.
There used to be a metal barrier across there where you could, before Claggett went through and the care home was made, and that went through and cut over to something, but it was always closed, and then now it's opened up so you can get from Sandy to Claggett in this little, unimproved. The alley, yeah. Well, it's
Yeah.
improved, I mean, it's asphalt.
Right.
But it was always kind of, I'd have to do some digging to
I was going
history.
to compliment the McNary High School students for their behavior at Claggett River Road, because I have seen a lot of them getting out of school and coming there. I haven't seen any of them jaywalk there. Now, it may be coincidence, but they were all either waiting for the bus or waiting for the signal. And a good example, all the ones I ever saw were always using the crosswalk. Now, take that for what it's worth.
So just to be clear, so are you asking for a stop sign on Claggett where that alleyway meets Claggett?
Yeah, just at least one.
or a
Could-
warning or
yeah.
something.
I
Or
mean,
something like slow down, like,
we talked about this earlier, speed hump wouldn't be bad either. That way you could almost have like a crossing where it's, you know, this zebra stripe crossing that people walk atop, kind of like in McNary.
Pretty narrow.
There's that little way to go from the one parking lot that's right in front of school to the other parking lot that's in front of the gymnasium
Oh.
area. There's a little raised area that you can drive over, but it's raised, so it slows you down. So something like that, I don't know, that assisted facility, if they have a lot of emergency vehicles that go there, like the one on River Road. I see emergency vehicles there somewhat frequently, but I've never seen one go into the back one. But, I mean, that, I think, would be a good way of, one, making pedestrians, students more obvious as they're crossing and slowing down cars there, without stopping them. Because I could see when it gets busy on that street, traffic backs up at the light and traffic backs up coming in, as they're trying to go all the way into the back. Whereas this little speed hump crossing would be, slows people down without
Yeah.
stopping them. But that would be something that could go on our list.
or maybe like the schools in progress or something sign, you know,
Do you think
the flashing light.
the vegetation possibly had an effect on it?
Yeah, I think it has a lot of effect on it.
Okay.
Maybe we can like talk to the landowner and try and get that cut.
We could talk,
down.
you could talk to, let me think, I'm getting
Huh?
old. Who takes care of our hedge sidewalk problems, we call, code enforcement? If the bushes and stuff are impeding vision on a road, we could ask code enforcement to look at that and see if it's,
Are we talking on Claggett on the south side, but there's a small detention pond? It's a vegetated soil facility for, no?
You're talking, not the church side, but the other side.
Yeah.
Do you want me to bring it over? I can show you. I'll bring it over.
And maybe a pedestrian crossing sign.
hey, I think we need more information before we.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear, and I think, I mean, I've seen people, students crossing there. I've never seen it so busy that I don't see them.
Yeah, it's usually like right after school or after a game.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Yeah, during the fall soccer season, there was a
Yeah.
lot of activity
Yeah.
in that area.
And they can't see around the bushes. Is the alley part of the city street system? You don't know without looking.
I can do a little research and look
Yeah.
into the bushes and whatnot and see what we can, I'll look at it.
All right, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can we add it as a follow-up to next meeting?
we could put it on, well, I wouldn't want to put it on the list of project list.
No.
Maybe just the next meeting at the committee member input, you can bring it up again and, or staff can bring it up during staff report, whatever you find.
Yeah. No, I'm just thinking, and it's just that Claggett side, it's not the Sandy side, there's not an issue if you're coming the other way, it's just when you're headed north and you stop there and you're looking to the east, you want to take a right towards River and there's an issue right there.
Yeah, and especially with the shadow from the sun, it's like, it's
I
hard
can't
to
do
see.
anything about the sun.
Oh, I know.
You can do anything.
Plant more trees, then you have more vegetation.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll hear back from
All right,
Mike.
thank you.
Yeah, David?
I didn't think I had anything, and then I was just sitting here thinking, and this is nothing major at all, but I was going south on Verda at Dearborn, and there are a lot of construction signs and stuff there, so it may have been that I was just distracted. But the thing that I noticed on both sides of Dearborn and Verda, the bus stops are very close to the stop signs. And on the north side, and basically I would suggest that if Officer Powell, the next time you go by there, for me, the Chariot bus sign was right in front of, visually blocked the stop sign. And I thought, oh, there's a stop sign here. And I thought, oh, sure, there is, but it was behind the Chariot sign. So anyway, you might just take a look at that and see what you think when you go by. It's nothing major, but yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So mine has to do with the street cleaning. I know the city has a contract with somebody to do that. And I happened to be walking my dog one night and saw the guy, and he happened to be stopped for a moment, so I was talking to him, and he said no one had been out for a while, so that he was doing it, and he was doing it late at night too, poor guy. But I asked him about this one area, and it didn't look like it got done, but it's on trail between Harmony and, it's right near Harmony and Trail, but on trail. There's a tree, an oak tree that dumps a lot of leaves in the fall, and it becomes leaf oatmeal as it rains. And it's in, I don't know if that's officially a bike lane there, but as a bicyclist, I use that instead of being in the main lane. But because of the gross oatmeal leaves, I end up riding in the car lane. So I don't know, again, what happened, why the normal cleaning didn't happen, but
So we have a new contractor. We lost the one we've had for a long time. We had to go out for another RFP, and they didn't get it. And so we went with the second bidder, which they're out of Portland, and there's been some road bumps along the way, and quite a few, actually.
yeah.
So, yeah, their machine's smaller
Yeah.
than we had, Lauren's that we've had for years, and they're struggling. So we're gonna be going out for another RFP here down the road. But we do take those complaints, and I forward them on to the gentleman I deal with in Portland, and they send them back out. As far as the leaf season, they got behind. You have to stay on it. You can't really get behind, and once you get behind, it's really hard to catch up. And on a smaller machine, you're just kind of pushing it down the road. You're making more of a mess. So
I think, yeah, I agree. That's what it looked like.
I don't have a solution. They should be biodegraded at some point, and they can, no. We'll,
Dry out in the summer and blow away.
well,
Okay, that's all I had.
So I had the opportunity to swing by Alder and Pleasant View a couple weeks ago due to a Claggett Creek middle school jazz band concert event that was down there. The street view, when we were talking about that last month, didn't show any asphalt on what would that be, the west side of Adler where that crosswalk is. Mr. Griffin, you said that there was a way to get to that. Was that asphalt that way to get to that you were talking about?
it was just redone here within the last few weeks when you went by, probably.
Okay, so it looked
We
relatively
changed it.
new.
Yeah.
Okay, did that take care of the issue that you brought up last meeting?
Yes and no.
Okay.
So, yes, thank you, Mr. Griffin.
Do you want to come up?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. I just wanted to run, yeah.
So, yes, thank you, Mr. Griffin. I think it's more of a bigger problem. So again, it goes back to safety with the crosswalk. So I went back to the neighborhood association because it just comes down to, they're still not stopping at the stop sign for kids to cross at the crosswalk, just regardless. They're
Just rolling through it?
They're just rolling through it. And so now we went back to the school, to like a parent, to one of the meetings, to the parent-teacher meetings. And so now our letter has been drafted to get a crossing guard there now permanently, because the one that's there is kind of there sometimes, not there sometimes. And so it just becomes like a safety issue, like he wasn't there today, he's there 3 days out of the week. And so, and then
We also learned that there's money allotted for a crossing guard at Alder and Brooks, and there hasn't been one there all year. And so again, there has been a letter drafted, sent to the principal to be like, hey, what's going on? Because right now it is a safety issue. Because, I mean, they're just rolling through signs and it's just not safe that kids are halfway through it's 2 lanes, kids are halfway through the crosswalk and cars are still going. Hopefully we'll see what happens in the next, because we gave them 30 days, so we'll see what happens by next month. This is only for elementary. We don't know what, same thing happens for middle school, but middle school Claggett takes a little bit longer to get a hold of. We're still kind of addressing parking from last year, which we got an update from that. They finally issued like a little map on how to drive. So, that's a plus. So it's kind of like little baby steps.
Thank you, Sharon. Who is that letter being drafted from?
The parent club from Weddle.
Okay. Did you ask the neighborhood association if they would be willing to draft a letter in support of that?
So it was 2 members that are already on the neighborhood association that are part of the club.
But then did they ask it's a separate entity, the neighborhood association? So you would then essentially have 2 letters of support, one from the parent club and then one from the neighborhood association.
I did not. They just did the one. I can ask them to do.
I think that I would
Okay.
ask.
Okay, yep, I'll bring that up.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Staying with it.
Yeah.
It's been a long year.
All righty.
Anything else?
No, that's all I have.
Trevor?
I just want to say thank you for all the community comments and concerns. I appreciate it. It brings to light that we're stronger together, and I just believe that the more comments, the better for us to be able to bring forth our recommendations to the city council. And thank you everyone here and not here for coming out and giving comments. Thank you.
Yeah, and anyone who's watching, please come. David?
Yeah. I don't know if all of you know this. We have an account in the city of Keizer's budget for bicycle helmets. It's been around for years and years and years. And the purpose was, rather than us handling the money, we'd let the city do it. And so they just set up a little account, and all the money we spend goes from the city. The city buys things that we recommend using the money that we put in that account. And it's really nice of them. I tell Tim every time I see him how helpful that is, since I don't want to do it. So we have about $840 for next year. Sounds like a lot, maybe. We also have about 70 helmets that Salem Health donated to us. That's about $1,000 worth of helmets. That won't take us through the year, but it gives us, we're good till next summer sometime. And for those of you new or newer or helper there, during an event, whatever that event is, we usually give away, but we ask for a donation. So we do get some money back in. About 25 helmets. $15 a piece, you can do the math. That's every event. And we do maybe 6 events a year. And at the event, all we do, and I know Mike's been there, and then I guess the rest of you get their first time coming up. We fit the kids with helmets to make sure they fit appropriately. Doesn't any good to give a kid a helmet that's too tight and he won't wear it, or it's too big, and if you have any gap there, you take a spill, severe damage. So it's important, and then since we're giving them away, we need to make sure that it's appropriate. Okay, so the events we have coming up this year that we're going to need help on. Hirsch and I are usually always there, but we need more help. We're giving out brochures to the parents, talking to the parents. Claggett Middle School's having an event. It's called probably gonna be called a bike rodeo, which always threw me off because it has nothing to do with rodeos. It's where we go over with the kids verbally the laws, hand signals, walk them through it, make sure they know how to do it, maybe ride their bike real slow through a maze, and then maybe taking them on a bike ride or something like that. So Claggett Middle School has something come up. We have usually two church events, one with the Catholic Church and one with, I think it's Dayspring or something like that. But where they're getting ready, they're donating and they're working with people getting the kids ready for school. They help us financially. We just give away without question, usually 50 helmets, first come, first serve. We usually work in conjunction with what's the bike shop down on Broadway? Hub, right. They were usually there at the same time and they repair all the bikes that come in. So we need more people there for that event. Keizer Days, Fire Department Open House. We've done Public Works Open House sometimes. Whoever asks us, we show up. Okay. So those are coming up. That's about it. Other than that,
So Laszlo, maybe, I don't know how they work with volunteer hours at McNary, but maybe some McNary kids
come on down, we'll
would
teach
want
you
to
how to
volunteer.
put a bike helmet on a 6-year-old.
So I don't know if you have a way to get that message out in the school, if there's
I could just talk to the principal about it.
yeah.
Is there like a club that could be closely associated with this?
Not really.
Okay.
Oh, let me interrupt. I was gonna ask you, do you guys have a drag racing club at the high school? Well, no, I mean, I went to high school, we had ours, and I taught for 30 years and we had one at two different schools.
It's just in the parking lot.
No, not in the parking lot.
Officer
Usually we
Powell's
use
looking at you.
Woodburn.
Statute of limitations, probably.
I could tell you some stories.
Oh. All right, well, okay, moving on. Mike, staff report.
Thank you, Chair DeBlassi. Last week, Public Works did hazmat training with the Salem Fire Department. The guy did a real good job, learned a lot of good information. And this week, our crews did confined space training because we get into different situations where we have to be prepared and fill out and be ready. So both of those are really good training. And other than that, I did mention to our new director, Carrie, about the neighborhood tours that you had brought up. And she is open to the idea. Right now, she's getting her bearing and deep in budgets. And I guess a question for you all here would be, what did you have in mind? And I'll let her know.
Yeah, so this was my idea for those of you who don't know. We have a new Public Works director, so I thought, it would be good to have her come out, meet with a couple of us from the committee, because we can't have everyone, and tour the neighborhoods with one representative or representatives from the neighborhood association for that neighborhood, maybe our council liaison or the council liaison for that neighborhood association. And basically look at areas where we or the neighborhood association feels like there needs to be something addressed, and just kind of put it on her radar. And then maybe at some point have her come afterwards and we could talk about what all we saw and next steps. So that's essentially what I'm thinking.
Chair de Blasio, you're kind of modeling it after the parks tour.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So.
And I don't know how they had the whole committee on that when they did those, or
The whole parks board and then the city council goes
yeah.
as well. And I think they do a rotational, like when they've done projects at different parks, they typically do some of the the upgrades over time. So like 2 years ago, we went to, what is it, Ben Miller? I think we've typically gone to Keizer Rapids. And then there was one more. And then last year we went to Bob Newton. We did Keizer Rapids again because they were doing some work. And then we went to, I can't remember the third one, but so they typically do about 3 every year.
Okay. So, I mean, that's, I guess, a good point that it's going to be, dependent on how we can get the neighborhood associations involved. And so we might not get them all in 1 month. So it might have to be several, just discrete times. And then we can come back and have that conversation here about what we learned in those meetings. So,
Okay, I will pass that along to her. I know, like, Shani, like with the parks tours, it's a once a year
Once a year.
deal, right? So I guess for the time commitment and then saying, getting, once a month doing these for not sure how long, that's why I was like, I'm not.
yeah, I guess it's one thing I'm thinking of is, she's in favor of it. I'm hoping everyone else here is in favor of it. And then reaching out to the neighborhood associations and getting the sense of who would want to do that. Because I think it's important to have someone from the neighborhood association there because they live there, they know what they're hearing more than any one of us who don't live there and experience it regularly. So I guess the next thing would be for Dawn, if you could reach out to the neighborhood associations and ask them if they'd be willing to at least have one person, ideally a couple, to join in on these things. And then we could determine how the scheduling and time commitment and all that.
It'd be really nice if we could just take an area that a neighborhood association oversees, park somewhere, because I don't know how many people you're talking are, involved in this, but parking in the neighborhood and kind of able to walk to a couple spots. It's different than a park, because a park you can go there and park and just spread out and see
Right.
things. So I like the idea. I just logistically, how do you make it work so we're not walking miles and then we're not picking up and driving over?
You might, just if I could offer just something to think about when as you're formulating the plan, but like maybe pick 3 neighborhood associations and ask them to give you one area to look at. So for example, maybe if you went to Southeast neighborhood and you picked the area that you've been bringing forward on a regular basis, you could go and look at it. And I know Mr. Walsh, you went and visited it, but do something like that as a group. And then maybe go, ask West Keizer. They might want to go somewhere on Shoreline, right? And so, but you would want to have kind of a central place to meet up that's close to where you can walk. So maybe if there's like a church or a school nearby, that would be, but I would probably limit it to maybe 3 places because you have travel time and you try to get it done within an hour and a half, which is typical of your meeting time. Yeah.
That was my next question. You said 3, but then trying to get done within an hour, and I didn't know if that was, I didn't know if you were thinking 3 over a couple of different, how that would work over a couple of different days, or no,
yeah, I don't know.
however it works, but yeah.
That's how we did the parks, just hit 3 of them.
Yeah.
And then we're done.
3 trouble spots of 3 neighborhood association areas and just boom, boom.
Yeah, so I guess the
Oh.
first step would be having the neighborhood see which neighborhood associations are interested, and then have them also ask them where to name 3 places they're interested in meeting.
I'll talk to Carrie about that, the ideas here, and then we'll have Dawn and move forward
Yeah.
from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Officer Powell?
Looks like I got a couple things to talk about. Speeding complaint on Cummings. We had the speed reader trailer down there for a week and a half. Did that and then removed it. Then actually it was, I want to say it was Monday. I was out there doing some enforcement. Specifically, I do it around school time, about 2 o'clock. Cummings seems to have more traffic as people are coming to and from. yes, you can stop speeding on, a speeding car on any street. It's fairly infrequent on Cummings. Not saying it doesn't exist. I stopped a couple other cars for other violations, but everybody would think I was stopping a speeding car. And to your point, somebody's point earlier, that are we stopping people who live in the neighborhood? Of the 3 I stopped for speed, 2 of them worked in there, 1 of them lived there. So that is kind of your example for Shoreline. They drive the road every day, and they just don't live specifically on Cummings, but they lived in the neighborhood. So yes, it is more likely than not their neighbors. And then as far as Verda, I kind of don't know where to even begin on that. The speed trailer is there again. I've worked it, and yes, I can stop a speeding car about 1 an hour. And quite frankly, it's a not real effective use of my time. There's a lot of other streets that have a lot of other issues, more issues. Not saying they don't speed on Verda, but it is not as bad as being portrayed. I would implore people to follow the data, and I would use the example of Alder. Alder had a speeding issue. We confirmed it with the data. We put the speed reader all signs out there. It has solved it. Yes, we can, well, I can't say it solved it. It has slowed it down, similar to what Shoreline did. Yes, you can still get speeding cars on Alder. I still work it quite regularly, but it's helped. And that was following the data. I think we're in a budget crunch, like you were talking about your crosswalks. Find the worst one and follow the data and pick one at a time. But Verda is not it.
Well, that does get back to what I said early on, is like, on those really long streets, you know,
Cummings.
everyone knows the speed limit's 25. It's, unless you don't live here, you know it's 25. So I don't think it's really an ignorance thing. It's really either you don't care or you get in that road coma or whatever, you know. So that's why I was thinking for long streets like Verda, Shoreline, Cummings, if we could put on all those streets, those blinker.
Again, I would still say, if we're gonna invest money, my suggestion, we're coming into serious budget crunches, in order to justify the money, rather than following the emotions of whoever might be involved, is stick with the data. Numbers are numbers. You can back those up every day. And when I work on Verda, what I see is a lot of cars, they don't actually travel the full length.
No.
More than half of them will turn off onto Keizer.
Or onto Verda
Yes.
from Keizer, yeah.
Yes.
So how do we present the data to the neighborhood association, to go back to them, to say basically what you're saying?
Well, we've already done it. We've done 2 speed studies did one a year ago and one the year before that. Both of them said very similar results. Yes, there's an occasional speeding car, but the average speed, and don't quote me on this, but the average speed of all cars was like 26 or 27 miles an hour.
Now, is your question, how do we get the information to them?
Yeah,
So did you go talk to the people who filed the,
No, I brought it to the.
brought it here,
Yeah.
right, okay. So it goes to here, and they're expecting, they can either look at the minutes, watch it on TV, to find out.
One of the members was
Yeah.
one that brought it up, so.
Maybe it's a question for the chief to get an officer to come to the greater Gubser neighborhood, because they were the one that submitted the letter tonight,
Yeah.
to explain to them the data.
That's, you and I were on the same page on that one. I was gonna suggest that maybe you connect with Patty Tischer, who's the chair of Gubser, to circle back on the letter that she sent in.
Yeah, I actually have it circled, a couple things. No action was taken due to insufficient data. Well, that we have done action. I've worked
Yeah.
it, I've increased my enforcement, and it wasn't due to insufficient data. It was just because of
Because of the data.
the number, because of the data.
And then maybe Counselor Christopher I can ask Counselor Christopher to connect with you. She's the liaison to the Greater Gubser Neighborhood Association, so I might do that, and then you can share with her, just exactly what you've shared here, and maybe between connecting with her and connecting with Patty.
Okay,
I think that's the follow-up.
all right.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't want to speak for Patty, but in this letter, maybe she meant that no action, meaning no traffic calming action.
They didn't get what they wanted.
Right, and the due to insufficient data maybe she meant due to data that's not supporting something. But again, I may be misreading what she's saying here, but yeah, I think
Just-
getting in touch with her.
Just remember, I mean, I think, Mr. Griffin would say this as well, that, we can't put stop signs in as traffic calming. It has to be based on volume.
Right. Yeah. Okay, well, it'd be nice to hear how the conversation goes that you have. So you could share that next meeting, if, I'm assuming you'll talk with her at some point in the next 30 days. Okay, council liaison.
So I have two things to update on. One of them is that Congresswoman Salinas had included in her appropriations amount, had included a request for $850,000 for Keizer for work on Berta. And we heard, looks like we heard this morning that that was successful in being approved. So 850,000, so that's actually the second award, congressional appropriation that Keizer's received in the last 2 years. So that's really exciting. This will be for construction on, and I'm reading from Mr. Brown, Adam Brown, our city manager. This is for construction of the east side of Berta between Chemawa and Dearborn. Several years ago, the council funded the design work, so that was already done, so that we could have a shovel-ready project if we were asked for what would we want in a congressional appropriation. And so we were at 80% of 80% design. I'm not quite sure what he means by that, but that's really good news, $850,000. So in the second congressional appropriation for Keizer. So that was very, very exciting. The second thing is, again, related to Verda. ODOT overbid the project, and I'm going to look at Mr. Griffin in case again, save me if I'm wrong. But they overbid the project, and we had matching funds that we had to put into that so that meant that our matching funds, we have, and I'm putting in quotes, money left, that will go back into the street fund. And I connected with Mr. Brown this afternoon to ask them, what is that street fund? What does that mean? That's the fund where they do the street resurfacing, and don't get excited, but also sidewalks and crosswalks. So 1.2 million will go back into the street fund. Do I need saving, or is that pretty?
That's good.
Okay, yay. Starting to learn to speak street.
So you said the east side of Verda between Dearborn and Chemawa.
Correct.
So opposite the new apartments.
Correct.
That's really good news, because it completes the Verda from
Yes.
Chemawa all the way to the parkway.
Yeah. Now, is there a way where we can see the designs? Because
Oh, that is out of my purview, but maybe could ask Mr.
You'd like to see the sidewalk that's being constructed drawings, Michael?
Well, I mean, will it just be cement laid down, or is it going to be cement with, some type of curb planter, stormwater swale?
So at the time I know a little more, I'll fill you guys in. I did not know about this, so,
Okay.
yeah, when I understand what it's about, and I will say, oh, here's what it is. But, as far as like bringing in a set of plans, no, probably not. But, I mean, once I know about it, I will definitely say, here's what's going on, and so.
Sorry, that was hot off the press from this morning.
Yeah, no kidding.
Okay.
I was like,
But I would maybe connect and ask, maybe connect with Mr. Brown and see kind of what that ask was on that congressional appropriation. And then maybe by next month, we might have a better idea.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, so that gets us to the member reporting to council, and that is me. I better check my calendar. Let's see here. The second, looks good for me.
What
So,
date is that?
it's March 2nd, Monday, March 2nd.
Oh, right,
So,
this is February.
that's right.
I'm retired. What do you-
Yeah, so that leaves me to the last thing on the agenda, which is our next meeting is March 19th, which I will not be able to attend, so I will get everything I need to for everything we talked about tonight to Dawn. So who's our VP on this committee?
Is that the
Hirsch,
spring
so
break
Hirsch can
for
take my
retired?
place. It's actually the next week, but, I just can't make it that week. So, yeah. I'll just read the minutes afterwards.
Good.
All right, meeting is adjourned.